Hello, welcome to this second session of week 4 of our course on Marketing Management 2, where we are discussing brands and the different strategies related to brand, and we are this week discussing some of the advanced concepts beyond that fundamentals that were introduced on branding last week by my colleague Dr. Shashi Shekhar Mishra, and we concluded the last session on this particular exercise, where you had to select as a new brand manager of a large food and beverage company that where you want to position a new beverage brand which you are responsible for, whether you want to focus it as an individual product like we have here Alto or Innova, like some of these car companies, or you want to position it like as a product line. So, that means you have to relate it to the product lines of the existing food and beverage brands in your company, where you are not the new brand manager, or you want to actually combine that also with a corporate branding exercise. Now, I am sure you in the forum you will be giving your choices and giving your suggestions, explaining your submission, but today I would like to then provide you with some inputs as to how to do this and some of the important new thoughts in this area. The first important point to consider always is that who is your audience, and this is a very important slide. Remember that you may be thinking that you are creating the brand message for the consumers, which is the usual thing, or customers in case of B2B, but in reality whatever message you are beaming out will be also affecting your suppliers, your employees, your current customers or potential customers, even your competitors or government regulators or investors and investment advisors, and all the people in the ecosystem, or what we call the stakeholders, all the stakeholders. So, which means that remember that the brand message must keep this in mind. That means, you should never say something in your brand message or bring it out anything that adversely affects another constituent of the stakeholder ecosystem. So, this it will still be focused on the customer, because ultimately the brand equity is to be measured, as we have discussed this whole thing about CBBE, the customer based or consumer based brand equity, but it has to be understood that whatever you are doing in the branding exercise will be equally affecting, or in certain ways may be differently affecting the other stakeholders. So, you have to be conscious about that. And here I want to clarify this thing that I was just now talking about, CBBE, that in the traditional definition on branding available in some of the textbooks, it sometimes creates a confusing situation that the brand is for whom. So, today these days therefore, actually we distinguish between the customer brand equity and the firm brand equity or organization brand equity. It is important that the brand equity is important for both definitions. In customer brand equity, what we are focusing on is the brand value to the customers, and this is the value received by individual customers from a branded product or service over and above the value received from an unbranded version of the same product or service, which means that we are highlighting here that the brand value goes beyond the cognitive factual evaluation of functions and properties. There are a lot of emotional and lot of feelings oriented affective part of the brand. So, it is more of a perception, that part is highlighted here, and we saw that how important this intangible element, this perception is for tangible result, where we saw that how the preferences swung in favor of Coke from Pepsi when the brands were revealed. Of course, that happened in 1992. Today people may
but still Coca-Cola is the brand leader in that area. So,
well, that may be contested by Pepsi. I do not know exactly in Indian situation whether we have a recent study which shows that whether how strong is this preference.
Because in terms of the market share, it is like same 55 to 35.
Because in India, I think Pepsi entered earlier, in a sense that Coke was here earlier, then Coke had to go out due to some regulatory reasons or political reasons. Then Pepsi came in, and for many years, that was only international cola brand available.
So India was in fact only one of the few market where Pepsi was ahead of Coca-Cola, and that is where we have discussed in where the Coca-Cola has taken this thumbs up, and by taking thumbs up they initially thought they will kill the brand, but that eventually thumbs up has helped them to overcome the challenge of Pepsi in India. And today if we see the market share, it is like most of the other developed
I think we will discuss this in more detail in one of the later sessions. And what we were saying is, just like you have the customer brand equity, you have the firm brand equity, that is the what that brand brings to the organization. So, this could be better cash flow, this could be better margin, and this is what you were just now talking about, that brand's ability to attract and retain and grow customer base and over an unbranded alternative. These definitions, I would just like to make one cautionary remark, that many times these definitions change due to modern day economic compulsions. Like I was reading recently that in Japan, which had always been a very brand conscious market, and the brands always commanded a premium. Under the continuing economic pressure I think it started somewhere in 2005 or 7, that there are number of large stores who are deliberately putting products on the shelf saying no logo or no brand. So, they are not even saying it is that it is a store brand. They are highlighting, I forget the Japanese, there is a Japanese term that has been evolved. It basically indicates that this is a good product, that is the meaning of the Japanese term. So, they are trying to bring in the cognitive part or the logic part in the buying process and trying to focus on that, and people are listening to it, because they are now challenging their own emotional perceptions because of economic reasons, because of the cash flow constraint in the hands of the consumer, the lowering of the disposable income. So, customer brand equity, which I think you have discussed this in your last week's session, but again it is good to bring out that this customer brand equity, there is a pre-purchase equity, which is actually sort of embedded in the pre-purchase image created in customer's mind, which has information and fact based part as well as many emotional parts or triggers that are created due to the branding exercise. And ultimate purpose of the pre-purchase equity is to reduce the search cost. And then in the post purchase, we want to enhance the customer's sense of people say that there is a dissonance, after purchase we feel a little sad because maybe we have parted with our money. So, some reinforcement it has been found very important, that then you feel good. That is why when people come back from a shopping trip, as soon as they reach home, they open the packets, and at that stage when you re-look at that particular packet and you look at the price tag, it is important. This is what has recognized, and that is why this whole post purchase brand equity issues have been developed, that then the customer should feel good, even if he or she is looking at a higher than expected price level. They say, okay, but this is Tanishq, or they will say, okay, this is from Unilever or something. They should feel good about having made that purchase. So, this feel good factor creation is the role of the post purchase equity. The high customer brand equity is important, because in today's scenario it is becoming increasingly more difficult to compare alternative products, because there are so many of them.
Yeah.
And that is why it is, sometimes you just do not have time. I was myself, I am going to planning to buy a new laptop. My older laptop is almost 6 years old, and I thought I will buy a lighter laptop. But when I looked at the scenario of what should I buy as a lighter
so your
laptop,
definition of lighter might have changed.
no, I mean, there are
The way they will say this lighter, that lighter.
no, I am going by the kgs,
Yeah.
but then I am finding that there is a one kind of kg applied to what are the traditional laptop design. Then some people are saying, why do you want to go to a traditional laptop, buy this new format 2-in-1,
That's what, yeah. So
which is like a tablet,
yeah.
and you can attach it to a keyboard when you want it, when you are actually doing something,
Yeah.
lot of writing, or
Yeah.
you need the keyboard. Otherwise, most of the time you carry the tablet.
Yeah, maybe,
Then the weight kg
reduces.
reduces, and it but the laptop people will say can't compare. So, when I am talking to the vendors, I am finding therefore today there is a whole plethora. So, ultimately I may just make my decision that no, it is okay, I think I should buy HP, or I may say no, Lenovo is also a good brand. So, ultimately I will make my decision, even though I started with kgs, which is a cognitive logical point that I want to carry less on my shoulder, but then ultimately I might make a decision just based on the brand perception in my mind.
Yeah, because brands are helping you in simplifying your decision making
Yes.
process.
Yes.
Yeah, it relates to the kind of the way the competition is turning up. Tomorrow you can have another form of laptop where you have this, the batteries are one of the major constituent of the weight. You can, if you understand that wherever you are moving, or you have most of the time in the vehicle, you have the adapter can be put, so that you don't need a battery actually along with your machine. So in that case, if you purchase something which is without battery, it could be a problem.
Yeah, actually somebody, one of the vendors talked to me about this, and they said that you can have a power pack.
Yeah,
nowadays
that's
you can have this stored
power bank,
power bank or
Yeah.
power pack, whatever it is called. So, you say that you can keep in your suitcase,
Yeah.
check-in suitcase, and in your carry-on luggage you only have this tablet,
Yeah.
because the tablets do not have this high power,
Yeah.
that is where the chain,
Yeah,
this thing
because
came.
yeah,
And they also do not have this drive, etc. They have solid state memory, that also reduces the tablet weight.
Yeah.
And but the thing is that I can also have a tablet with where I can attach a drive like, it will still not be a moving drive, but it will have a larger external device. So, this whole point is that in these types of high tech purchases, I will not know the value till late, it is only after using, after 6 months I will say, okay, I really like this new model, but I will not say this immediately after 2 days, because I will still be grappling with some complexities of the new stuff. So, that is why here the role of brand comes, influencing my pre-purchase decision as well as my post-purchase comfort.
Yeah.
I think both of these issues, and even product quality now has a new dimension. Quality, one quality is its fitness for use, but now we are also looking at some of the product quality in terms of its social display value. You know, if I am carrying and I am sitting in a meeting or in the class and I have a device which is very sleek and very modern and makes me look technologically suave, those displays are also important. And there if I have a device which nobody knows, on the other hand if I have this is the new yoga or something like that, people will talk about it. Yeah. Even these factors are now becoming aspects of brand building, and so the brands are often therefore built on modernness or technological sophistication and so on and so forth, depending on what kind of product it is. Yeah. So, there are obvious advantages as we were discussing, as it is displayed on the screen, the high customer brand equity and advantages for the firm. The traditional thing about you can charge perhaps higher price and earn better images. But here again I know some interesting cases like Sony, before they entered India with their TV, they were already commanding a premium going by these brand strength in the Thailand market. So, they had about 20% premium or 25%. When they came to India, their initial pricing was based on the same strategy, that is Sony, so people will pay 20% more. But the Indian market did not do that. So, for a long time Sony, their TV was doing not at all as good as their competitors, lesser known competitors internationally, Samsung, LG at that time. I am talking about something that happened 10 years back. And then Sony had to finally revise their pricing strategy, because they understood that in Indian market the brand does not fetch that much of a premium as it does in Singapore or in Thailand. In fact, Singapore market is very well known that they will happily pay 30% more between unbranded and branded, or lesser brand and a premium brand. But we see often that not happening in India. That is why in India we see premium brands very carefully nurturing also the so called economy brands, or even sometimes bringing the prices so close that maybe there may be some cannibalization going on. I see it often between Samsonite and American Tourister, the two brands from the same stable, or VIP and Carlton and so on, or VIP and Alpha. And so, they make the brands often overlapping to avoid this gap where they may lose some business. So, they always want to present a continuity and always want to, because in India ultimately these questions are very strong, kitna deta hai, that is why this was humorously developed in some of these car campaigns, that even if somebody is buying a car which costs 2 million rupees, they will ask what is its mileage, as if it matters, because the few rupees you will be paying in fuel cost has nothing to compare with the initial 15 lakhs extra which you might have paid for that car. But anyway, these points still remain, and I think the most important benefit you get from the firm's perspective with brand is, today as we see, that it allows you to leverage that brand strength to bring in new products for cross selling as well as upselling. Yeah. Particularly I think in the B2B business, we see increasing examples of this, that people are leveraging. A great company in that is Havels in India. It is a very Indian company, and they created over the last 15-20 years a strong brand. They have even created a new category in the market. People tell me it is called FMEG, just like fast moving consumer goods. They have created the fast moving electrical goods, and they took this as opposed to the traditional approach in the very sort of stoic this B2B market, they took an almost consumerish approach, and today they are getting huge benefits in terms of revenue, in terms of their profitability, and they have been able to leverage once they got this confidence and trust from the customer. I mean, they have now been able to launch it into premiumness in very mundane products like ceiling fans or various kinds of light fixtures.
Lighting systems.
So, I think having discussed this, I would now like to summarize this particular slide. You need to study in detail. You can find this brand health check in any of the popular books, or like Keller's book on brand management, or any book for that matter. You will find this kind of a chart there in some form or the other, that what is the way we measure the health of a particular brand. So, there are, it is not so important whether you remember every part of this, but mainly you have to remember that the perceptual part as well as the numbers part, both are important. So, you have to measure the market breadth, the market depth, market share. You have discussed this in some other way in your last week's discussion. So, fundamentally whether the brand is helping marketing, is contributing to profitability, these are important. The market size it is allowing you to address, the depth, that is the extent of repeat purchase that it is helping you with, or market share expansion, these are important, as well as this awareness, the image. These are very difficult to measure, but this can be assessed in some way, that how it is the image. And I think this we will discuss in a later session, where we will sort of bring out this whole, maybe in the next session itself,
Brand portfolio management.
Yeah, brand portfolio management, we will develop towards this particular diagram, and that is where we will end today. Thank you.